From borrowing a bit of Shakespeare's tale to having a real-life biker inspire the main character, here's all you need to know about Sons of Anarchy's true origins. Kurt Sutter's Sons of Anarchy is one of the highest-rated TV series of all time. While the stories and characters were completely fictional, there was a little bit of reality hidden within. But the basic building block, well, that was all Shakespeare. The core elements, character arcs, and even the themes of the show, all of them are extremely similar to Shakespeare's Hamlet. Don't believe me? Well, do any of these sound similar? Loyalty, power struggles, betrayal, maybe revenge? This show's got Hamlet written all over it.
I'm still thinking about it. Trying to figure out what's best for the club. You'll know soon, all right? Right now, let's vote on something that actually makes sense.
But what about the true elements I mentioned earlier? There really is a real-life gang in the mix. Hell's Angels. Ever heard about them? This California-based biker gang served as the real-time inspiration for Charlie Hunnam's gang in the show. And get this, these guys are no small fry. In fact, to this day, they're one of the largest and most famous motorcycle clubs in the world. Not for all the right reasons, of course. The United States Department of Justice and even Europol absolutely hate these guys. They've even labeled them as an organized crime syndicate. Double yikes, I guess? That's justification enough for them to get their own TV show, am I right? Now, would you believe it? The club has 3,500 members worldwide. Folks, they even have 467 chapters in 59 countries. Insane, I know. And hey, did you know that they've got an equally wild origin story? A motorcycle enthusiast, Otto Friedli, heard a story or two from a World War II vet who'd flown with a squadron called Hell's Angels. This killer group shot down over 39 aircrafts in the war, which pretty much explains the nickname. And I guess Friedli liked that name a little too much because, bam, in 1948 he found a motorcycle gang with the same name. A badass name for a badass gang. Sounds about right. Let's not forget, in order to become a part of the gang, you've got to meet some super high standards. As you'd expect, being a part of Hell's Angels isn't all sunshine and rainbows at all. These guys both live hard and party hard. And how could I forget their shared passion for bikes and America, obviously. Did you know that the average angel rides around 20,000 kilometers in a single year? Sounds pretty demanding. They even follow a strict hierarchy, with the president leading the charge. He's followed by the vice president, and then the road captain and the sergeant at arms at the end of the top group. Prospective members ride at the end. But what about everyone else? Well, they find a well-deserved place for themselves right in the middle. Let me tell you a bit about their 4-step membership routine. Sounds pretty intense. You want to join these outlaws? Don't even think about it unless you ride the iconic Harley Davidson, or else you'll become a laughingstock. Let's say you got the bike. Do you have the right personality to match? Yeah, the gang's pretty big on clicking with each other. Now, even if you've got all that covered, you really need a contact. You know, someone who's already got the in. That way, they know you can be trusted. And going through all this, there's still one more step to go. The judgment. This is basically when the members, well, judge you and see if you're really worth your salt. Only after this are you ready to become a full-patched member. Folks, it takes longer to become a Hell's Angel than it takes to become a police officer. You see how serious they are? And let me just put this out there. Once you're in, good luck trying to leave. The club has a strict code of honor, and not leaving is just one of the rules. But what about getting kicked out? Now, that's a completely different game. Makes sense, doesn't it? The guys consider each other family, and turning your back on the fam is a big no-no. That's enough for y'all's introduction to the gang. Now let's shift gears and talk about how they inspired the Sons of Anarchy. It's not like the showrunners stumbled across them one day. Oh no, the gang was very much involved in the creation of the show, so much so that some parts of the plot were actually inspired by real events. I'll be getting into all of that later. But for now, let's focus on the real-life members of the gang that appeared on the show. Yeah, that happened. In fact, a gang member, David LaBrava, was hired as the showrunner's technical advisor. Sweet gig, right? LaBrava even had a recurring role in the series as Happy Loman. This man pretty much paved the way for his fellow gang members to join in the fun. David's Happy Loman didn't live up to his name at all. The man was Sam Crow's most dangerous member, pretty much like LaBrava himself. His character was initially in the Tacoma, but soon moved on to the Nomads, after which he became a full-patched member of the Sons of Anarchy. Sounds like a happy ending to me. Now, David was lucky enough to get a recurring role, but he wasn't the only one who made a cameo in the show. The creators wanted everything to feel as authentic as possible, so they hired not one, not two, but three other Hell's Angels members in the cast. Remember the president of the Nomad Charter? Rain Quinn. He was played by Rusty Coons, an OG gang member. And guys, Rain even made it to the final episode of Sons of Anarchy. Another happy ending, I guess, but don't think it's a recurring theme for all gang members, because this next one met with the worst possible fate. Hell's Angel, Chuck Zito, was hired to play Frankie Diamonds from the Nomad Charter. He got transferred to Sam Crow, but I guess that wasn't enough for him. He was involved in a bunch of home invasions, hoping to discredit the club, and get this, he was killed for his betrayal. Coming to the last gang member, Ralph Sonny Barger. He played Lenny Janowitz, one of 9 founders of Sam Crow. The character's backstory fits the real man nicely. You see, Barger was the founding member of the Oakland chapter of the Hells Angels. And guess what? He even witnessed one of his fellow members stab someone to death at the Altamont Free concert. Lenny only appeared in 3 episodes, but I'm gonna say that was enough for him to leave a rather sizable impression. Now, with so many gang members on the show, was the whole thing accurate? Turns out, yes, it was. There's indeed a ranking system in the OG gang like shown in the series, and yup, there's an initiation process for the prospects. Get this, some initiation rites are really out there. Now, everything inspired from the gang wasn't interesting. They even had quite a bit of racism and misogyny going on. Remember I told you that the Hells Angels were brothers? These guys took that a little too literally. The members are all white and they're all men. I know they had some women in the show, but that's one of the main differences where the show left its inspiration behind. Coming to Jax, our main guy, he also had a real-time origin story. The story might have been borrowed from Hamlet, but his characteristics and demeanor all came from a real-life gunslinger Hunnam hung out with on many occasions. Their interactions were encouraged by the showrunners, just so Charlie could know his character inside out.
It's your charter now, brother.
The actor called the young man a real-life Jax Teller, but sadly, the guy faced a super tragic fate, much like our ill-fated Jax Teller. Now, here's something that'll make you reach out for the Kleenex. The old-timey gunslinger left Hunnam his necklace. The actor keeps it with him all the time as a memorial. This guy was the heir apparent, and since his father was in the club, it was pretty much his whole life. Charlie found the young biker's presence very inspiring. He later recalled their encounters, saying that he had an amazing presence about him. He even described the young man as an old-school outlaw cowboy who was a modern-day gunslinger. Doesn't it sound like something out of a Wild West story? Hunnam really loved hanging out with the young biker, and I'm guessing because of their close bond, the actor completely based Jax on him. Best believe it, guys. Have you seen the way he dresses, his expressions, the way he acts? You can clearly see parts of the young biker's personality in Jax. Everything is based on that one biker he met in Oakland. I can't even imagine how the show would have turned out if Charlie hadn't met the young man.
What's this?
I need you to handle some business for me. I had lawyers start the paperwork already.
What business?
It's all in here.
And there you have it. From getting the inspiration for the main character from a real-life biker to borrowing a bit of Shakespeare's tale, that was all for Sons of Anarchy's real-time origins.